Are you a Zone 10 gardener frustrated with plants that promise big blooms but end up giving you nothing but work? You're not alone. The good news is, gardening in Zone 10 doesn't have to feel like a constant struggle. Imagine stepping into your yard and seeing vibrant color that lasts month after month without draining your energy or your wallet. In this video, we're diving into the long-blooming, low-maintenance perennials that thrive in Zone 10. These are the plants that work with your climate, not against it, turning your garden into a true year-round paradise. First on our list is Lantana, a powerhouse bloomer perfectly suited for Zone 10. From spring all the way into late fall, this sun-loving perennial pumps out clusters of tiny flowers in fiery shades of red, orange, yellow, pink, and even purple. The hotter it gets, the better it performs, making it a favorite for gardeners who don't want to babysit their plants through the summer. Even in poor or sandy soils, Lantana keeps thriving as long as it has plenty of sunshine. What makes Lantana even more valuable is its toughness. It's drought-tolerant once established, shrugs off heat, and attracts a steady stream of butterflies and pollinators to your garden. You can grow it as a ground cover, let it spill over pots, or use it as a colorful border that practically takes care of itself. For Zone 10 gardeners craving long-lasting color without the high maintenance, Lantana is a must-have. Next up is Gaura, often called whirling butterflies, and once you see it in bloom, you'll understand why. Its tall, wiry stems are covered in delicate pink or white flowers that flutter in the breeze like a cloud of butterflies. In Zone 10, Gaura really shines, blooming from spring straight through fall, sometimes even longer, with barely any maintenance required. This perennial loves full sun, thrives in poor or sandy soils, and once it's settled in, it's both drought and heat tolerant. Gaura is perfect for adding movement and an airy texture to your beds, borders, or containers. And because it doesn't ask for much, just a little trim to keep it neat, it's a low-effort way to bring months of soft, romantic color to your Zone 10 garden. If you're looking for a plant that thrives on heat and poor soil while still giving you fireworks of color, blanket flower is the one. Native to North America, it bursts into daisy-like blooms splashed with fiery reds, oranges, and yellows that look like they've been painted with a sunset. In Zone 10, it practically blooms non-stop from late spring right into fall, shrugging off intense sun and sandy soil where fussier plants give up. What makes blanket flower so great for low-maintenance gardeners is its toughness. Once established, it's highly drought-tolerant, meaning you won't have to baby it with extra watering. A little deadheading will extend the display, but even if you skip it, the plant just keeps going. It also attracts pollinators, bringing butterflies and bees to your garden all season. In containers, borders, or mass plantings, blanket flower is the definition of reliable color with very little work. Next up is Coreopsis, often called tick seed, and it's one of the longest blooming perennials you can grow in Zone 10. With cheerful daisy-like flowers in sunny yellow, soft pinks, or even bold bicolors, Coreopsis delivers waves of blooms from early summer right through fall. It's one of those plants that doesn't need pampering, thriving in sun full and tolerating everything from sandy soils to heavier clay. Gardeners love Coreopsis because it's so versatile. You can plant it in drifts for a meadow-like effect, mix it into borders for pops of color, or tuck it into containers where it spills over beautifully. Once established, it's drought-tolerant and deer-resistant, adding another layer of ease. Plus, it's a pollinator magnet, so your garden stays alive with butterflies and native bees. For gardeners tired of short bloom seasons, Coreopsis is a true marathon performer. For vertical interest and long-lasting blooms in Zone 10, blue salvia is hard to beat. Its upright spikes of violet-blue flowers rise above tidy mounds of green foliage, blooming continuously from spring until the first frost. It doesn't just look good, it thrives in the heat, tolerates humidity, and once it's established, requires very little care beyond occasional watering during extended dry spells. What sets blue salvia apart is its ability to anchor a garden design. The vertical flower spikes add structure to borders and pair beautifully with daisy-shaped flowers like blanket flower and Coreopsis. Pollinators can't resist it either. Bees, butterflies, and even hummingbirds flock to the blooms. Cut flowers last well indoors, and if you give it a light trim mid-season, it rewards you with even more blooms. In Zone 10, this perennial proves you can have structure, color, and pollinator action all in one easy care package. Pentas, often called the Egyptian starflower, is a go-to perennial for Zone 10 gardens because it never seems to stop blooming. From spring right through fall, it produces clusters of star-shaped flowers in shades of pink, red, lavender, and white. Unlike many plants that fade in the peak of summer, Pentas actually thrives in heat and humidity, making it one of the most reliable color providers for warm climates. Another reason gardeners love Pentas is its ability to draw in pollinators. Butterflies, bees, and even hummingbirds will flock to its nectar-rich blooms, turning your garden into a lively habitat. It does well in containers, borders, or mass plantings, and needs only full sun, regular water, and the occasional trim to look its best. For Zone 10, it's a nearly effortless way to enjoy vibrant color and constant wildlife activity. If you're looking for something small but hardworking, Mexican heather is a perfect choice. This compact evergreen perennial forms neat mounds of fine green foliage, topped with countless tiny purple flowers almost year-round. Even in the hottest part of the season, it keeps blooming steadily, adding a soft haze of color that brightens up walkways, borders, and containers. What makes Mexican heather so valuable is its resilience. It loves full sun, adapts easily to sandy or average soils, and once established, it tolerates dry spells with ease. Pollinators appreciate the steady supply of flowers, while you get a plant that stays neat and requires almost no maintenance. It's not flashy, but it's the kind of dependable bloomer that every Zone 10 garden can use. African daisy is a showstopper for Zone 10, delivering daisy-like flowers in striking shades of purple, orange, yellow, and white. What sets it apart are the blooms that often have bold eyes or two-tone patterns, giving them a vibrant, almost painted look. They love full sun and thrive in the heat, opening wide during the day and closing at night, which adds a bit of charm to their personality. In the garden, African daisies are low maintenance and drought tolerant, once established, making them perfect for beds, borders, or containers. They bloom heavily in spring and again in fall, when the weather is milder. And with a little deadheading, they'll keep producing for months. For gardeners who want bold color without constant fuss, African daisy is a must-have. Veronica, also known as speedwell, is a long-blooming perennial that brings elegant spikes of blue, purple, pink, or white flowers to Zone 10 gardens. The blooms appear in early summer and often continue into fall, especially if you give them a light trim after the first flush. Their upright, tidy growth makes them great for adding structure and height to flower beds or containers. This perennial thrives in full sun and well-drained soil, and it's both heat and drought tolerant once established. Veronica is also loved by pollinators, especially bees and butterflies, which keeps your garden buzzing with life.
whether planted in drifts for a bold statement or mixed with daisies and salvias for contrast. Veronica is a hardworking, low-maintenance bloomer that keeps your garden colorful for months.
To finish our first 10, let's look at Scaevola, sometimes called fan flower. Native to Australia, it's perfectly suited to hot climates like Zone 10. Its unique fan-shaped blue or purple flowers cascade gracefully over the edges of pots and hanging baskets, making it one of the best trailing perennials for adding color in tough sunny spots. Scaevola thrives in full sun, handles heat and drought with ease, and blooms almost non-stop through the warm months. It asks for very little, just a sunny location and occasional watering, and it will reward you with vibrant color and a graceful trailing habit. For gardeners who want a plant that performs beautifully in containers without constant upkeep, Scaevola is a gem. Artemisia is one of those plants that earns its keep in a Zone 10 garden. Known for its silvery, feathery foliage, it thrives in poor, well-drained soil and full sun where other plants might struggle. Its drought tolerance and deer resistance make it a reliable backbone plant, providing year-round texture and contrast without demanding much care. Beyond its resilience, Artemisia shines as a design plant. The cool, silvery tones pair beautifully with bold-colored perennials like blanket flower or coneflower, softening the palette and adding elegance. With little more than an occasional trim to keep it tidy, Artemisia rewards you with structure and subtle beauty all season long. For a splash of non-stop color in the heat, Biden's is a real winner. This easy care perennial produces a carpet of small, daisy-like flowers in sunny yellow, orange, or even bicolor varieties, blooming from spring straight through fall. It loves full sun, shrugs off summer heat, and thrives in containers, baskets, or as a ground cover in borders. What makes Biden so appealing is its carefree nature. Once established, it's drought tolerant and needs almost no maintenance besides occasional watering. The blooms attract pollinators and keep your garden lively, while the plant's trailing habit adds softness and flow to container designs. For long-lasting color with very little effort, Biden's delivers. Russian sage is a fuss-free perennial that brings months of color to Zone 10 gardens. Its silvery stems and finely cut foliage create a haze of lavender blue flowers that last from midsummer into fall. It thrives in full sun, tolerates drought, and handles poor soil with ease, making it a perfect choice for gardeners who don't want to fuss with constant care. Besides its durability, Russian sage adds a graceful, airy quality to plantings. Its height and soft texture make it a natural partner for bold perennials like black-eyed Susan or coneflower. Pollinators love it, and it keeps the garden buzzing while giving you a long-lasting, elegant backdrop. For low-maintenance beauty that holds up in the heat, Russian sage is hard to beat. If you need a tough ground cover that doubles as a fragrant accent, creeping thyme is ideal. This low-growing perennial forms dense mats of aromatic foliage, producing waves of pink or purple flowers in summer that attract bees and other pollinators. It thrives in sunny spots, fills gaps between stepping stones, and tolerates poor, dry soils with ease. Creeping thyme is practically carefree once established. It's drought-tolerant, deer-resistant, and needs only occasional trimming to stay neat. Whether spilling over a rock wall, weaving through garden paths, or carpeting bare soil, it brings beauty, fragrance, and resilience to Zone 10 gardens. Rounding out our list is the coneflower, a garden classic that's as tough as it is beautiful. With bold, daisy-like blooms in shades of purple, pink, orange, and white,
It provides weeks of color from summer into fall. Coneflowers thrive in full sun, tolerate drought, and adapt to different soils, making them a staple for low-maintenance gardens. Beyond their vibrant display, coneflowers are pollinator magnets. Butterflies, bees, and even goldfinches flock to their flowers and seed heads, keeping your garden alive with movement. Plant them in drifts for a bold impact, or mix them with grasses and Russian sage for a natural, prairie-inspired look. Coneflowers are the kind of perennial that proves easy care doesn't mean boring. It means reliable, vibrant beauty year after year. So there you have it, 15 perennials that thrive in Zone 10, giving you long-lasting color without the constant work. From vibrant blooms to tough ground covers and pollinator favorites, these plants prove that gardening in the heat can still be easy and rewarding. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like it, share it with a fellow gardener, and subscribe to PlantDo Home and Garden for more practical tips. And let me know in the comments, which of these Zone 10 perennials are you most excited to try in your garden?